countries, I would think by now, their team. So yes, I'm really excited to pass you over to hear from these incredible people. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I just have to say congratulations to you, by the way. It's 1 year and Pro 5 and just the light of the world there. I will never forget, meeting you and so many of the others and being there in Australia and just being completely filled to the brim. You guys are absolutely incredible, and my heart is just with you always. And we talk often about Australia and getting back there. We absolutely love Australia. So we are just completely honored to be here with you all. And for all of you that are guests, we are just so incredibly excited that you're here joining us and taking the time out of your busy morning. It's morning there, isn't it? Morning there, and to listen to this information, because the person that invited you here today, they genuinely love and care about you and you getting this information. And I'm telling you, what you're going to hear today is real beyond words. So get out a pen and paper, take notes. If you think of somebody, write their name down, because there's a reason that they came into your head. This is very important information, and it's a blessing to be here. So thank you so much.
All right. Yeah. So, it was about 6 years ago that this was introduced to us, and it was a friend of ours who was a dietitian at one of the heart hospitals here in Sioux Falls. And Michelle and her, they got to know each other quite well at the playground of our oldest daughter's kindergarten class, waiting for the kids to go in the mornings and then coming out after school. And, getting to know Nikki, we knew that she wouldn't just bring anything to us, that she was inundated with different products all the time, being a dietitian, and she really scrutinized what was in front of her and what she would suggest clients be taking. And when she brought this to us, we were pretty intrigued because of that. When we saw the ABC primetime video, though, we were absolutely blown away. And I think the biggest part for us, the reason we were so shocked, was that it turned out all positive. And, news sells better when it's bad, and they don't do those exposés for it to turn out good. But it did turn out 100% positive, and that really, really caught our attention. I was still very, very skeptical, though, on the business side. I didn't know if you could make money in network marketing. We were used to the corporate world, the corporate environment, trading time for money. And I had never been exposed to anything like this. So that's kind of where we started the journey. But over the last 6 years, what we've found is this can absolutely change people's lives. And it's not just on the business side, it's not just on the health side, it's becoming better people in the personal development and the personal growth. This company attracts some of the best people in the world, and it's absolutely our pleasure to be able to do business with all of you and share this story, share these products with the guests that are on today. Because like you, we were sitting there 6 years ago hearing this information. And what I would ask of you is be open-minded. You might be somewhat skeptical. You might think that it sounds too good to be true. But what we've seen over the last 6 years, if anything, what they told us underestimated the value of the technology that we had our hands on, because the science that keeps coming out over the course of the last few years shows that this technology is even greater than anything we could have thought a few years ago.
Absolutely. And too, one of the craziest things is that person that thought about you. It's wild to think back to our girlfriend, Nikki, who introduced this to us. She didn't know that my dad died of a heart attack at the age of 42. She didn't know that I had been battling massive health issues for many, many years. I had been to Cleveland Clinic, Mayo Clinic, the best of the best doctors and hospitals here in the U.S., neurologists all over the place. She also didn't know that Shawn and I had been working and had little time. There was a lot of stress as far as he was working full-time, I was working full-time. We had an online business that we were doing, in the nooks and the crannies of our days, late at night and early in the morning and on the weekends. Can you hear us okay, G? Okay, perfect. So, it was absolutely crazy. And, time was very, very tough. And she also didn't know that my poor husband was having to lay off a lot of people at Citibank and was having to come home and just be completely heartbroken. And, you know, he and I have actually known each other. I don't know if you guys know this. We've known each other since we were in 6th and 7th grade. So we know how each other is. And he is he's a hilarious guy. He's extremely smart. He is fun. And we've always had a blast together. But during that time of him having to lay off these people, it was tough. It was really, really tough because he was hurting inside because he knew these people for many years. He knew their families, and he knew at this time of having to lay people off, where in the world were they going to go and get jobs? So his emotions translated to myself and to our girls where it was tough. And I thank God every single day that LifeVantage came into our life, because we said yes to this originally because we were going to get so much product. We said forever we are going to be taking Protandem. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what Protandem is and why we say we're going to be taking this for the rest of our life. But because we decided to do the business and not just become customers, it completely changed our life. And that was our joke in the beginning was we got into the business because we said if we make $20, we'll go on a hot date and we'll get a red box movie, which here is you just go and you spend $1 or $2. It's like a vending machine, and you get a movie. And we'll get a red box movie and a bottle of wine. Because we didn't know a lot about network marketing. We didn't go into it for the business. We just were really passionate. We saw the science of this. And you guys, the American Heart Association, they wrote up about Protandem in their journal called Circulation, which is the premier cardiology journal of the world. And as I just said a moment ago, my dad died at the age of 42. I am now 39. We were introduced to this 6 years ago, and that grabbed my attention aside from the ABC Primetime Investigative Report. When I saw that, my mouth dropped. I had never seen an ABC Primetime Investigative Report end positive, and I grew up watching those. It's always like, ha-ha, we gotcha, and they try to shut these people down. They investigate them. And this ended positive. I still, to this day, I've never seen one end positive. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you watch it. You will be blown away. So after that, I learned that the man behind it, the scientist that was on this ABC investigative report, he won a medal called the Elliott Crescent Medal, a medal like Alexander Graham Bell and Orville Wright and Henry Ford. So I'm like, whoa, okay, this isn't just a good scientific award. This is a car. This is the airplane. This is interesting. Then I saw it was in the Wall Street Journal, and this man that I have been following through CNN, he's a chief correspondent. He wrote about Protandem in his book. So I was completely blown away and learned more about the information when we decided to go to a meeting that a cardiologist here in Sioux Falls was conducting. And I went, and again, we said we're going to take this for the rest of our lives. So let me tell you, what in the world is Protandem? Why are we so passionate about it? And what is oxidative stress? You know, we had been going through life, doing everything that we could to stay healthy. I had been battling things, so I completely try to take control of my life in the sense of health, as far as juicing and working out and doing all the variety of those things. But I had never heard of oxidative stress. I don't know if you have. I had heard of antioxidants. I had heard of free radicals before, but I had never heard of oxidative stress. So let me tell you real quick, what in the world is oxidative stress? So, and while I'm saying this, let me tell you that Protandem is the only thing on the planet that is proven to lower what's called oxidative stress by an average of 40% in 30 days and up to 70% after that. So just 40%. And if you watch that ABC Primetime Investigative Report, you saw John Quinones's be lowered by 45% in just 2 weeks. Huge. No nutraceutical company, no pharmaceutical company on the planet can make that claim. And that's why ABC Investigative Report came in and said, we're going to check you out. Okay? So oxidative stress. We're going to cut open an apple and we're going to set it on the counter. What happens to that apple? We all know it gets brown, right? Okay. That is exactly what's happening on the inside of our body. Yuck, right? Rusting from the inside out. How in the world have we always combated it, and why in the world have we never heard of oxidative stress before if it is known to be the root cause of disease? I asked a doctor that from Denver, Colorado, and he said, Michelle, Up until Protandem, there was nothing that we could say to our patients except for go ahead and eat a well-balanced diet. Eat your fruits, eat your vegetables, what are called direct antioxidants, where you eat them and then it goes out and it neutralizes one free radical at a time, 1-to-1 ratio. Listen to this. When you take 1 Protandim a day, it turns on your body's own anti-aging enzymes, where it slowly, when you're in your early 20s and as you age, those start going away. Protandim flips them back on, and they start killing off these free radicals on 1,000,000 to 1 every second. Every second, on the second, every second, on the second, instead of going out and eating fruits and veggies, and then it's one and done. Then you gotta go eat more. Your body is doing the work. It's absolutely unbelievable. And when we first joined, Dr. Joe McCord was here, and we were able to ask him, so try to explain this to me. I don't quite get it. It sounds really powerful. And oh my goodness, he said, Michelle, it's like this. If you take a Dixie cup of water and you throw it on the house fire, what's gonna happen to the house fire? I said, well, nothing. He said, well, that's what fruits and veggies are when it comes to free radical damage that leads to oxidative stress that then leads to disease. You still need to eat well. You need to have your nutrition and do all of that. So you can't just take your Protandim and go to Burger King. You still need to eat well. But then he said, you take 1 pill of Protandim a day, turns on your body's anti-aging enzymes, and it starts killing them off from that 1,000,000 to 1. He said, now the house is on fire, right? He said, it's like a fire hose in every single room in the house. Whoa. Now that caught my attention, and for me, not understanding what in the world oxidative stress was, just the simplification of a fire hose compared to a Dixie cup of water in every single cell in my body. Now, do we want that? Absolutely. So 40% in 30 days, you guys. Nobody else in the world. Tell me why in the world you would not want that. Now, one thing that is really powerful is that I learned, I said the American Heart Association wrote up about this, right? Well, guess what? After that ABC Primetime Investigative Report aired, guess what happened? Other people wanted to study it as well. Places like Louisiana State University, Harvard, Texas Tech, Ohio State. I mean, it's just all over the place. They contacted the company and said, we want to study Protandim on this, and this. And Dr. Joe McCord and his team said, heck yeah, go for it. It's on your dollar. Bring it on. We know what we have our hands on here. So if you go to a site in the US, it's called PubMed, PubMed.gov, publicmedicine.gov, PubMed.gov. That's called, it's through the National Institute of Health. It's the gold standard of medical research. It's where all the doctors go to. It's peer-reviewed and published research. So when I'm sharing this with you, it's not me coming and saying, oh my gosh, this is so unbelievable, trust me. It's not our company saying, oh my gosh, this is so unbelievable, trust our company. While do I believe our company is absolutely incredible and the integrity of the people here is through the roof, and the company and the corporate staff, we love them to death, but skeptic here, right? We were there and we found out about PubMed, and that this is the peer-reviewed published research. So the American Heart Association, all these other places, if you go to that site and if you type in Protandim, today you will find 23 peer-reviewed and published research articles on the branded product, not just one of the ingredients, on the branded product itself. And that, you guys, is unheard of. I talked to somebody the other day and they said, our information is actually, our product is in PubMed too. And I said, is it the whole product itself, the branded name, or is it one of the ingredients? And then she said it was one of the ingredients. So huge, huge to know. So what is that oxidative stress? It's that resting. So how do you, aside from it just sitting out, we get it from the pesticides, the herbicides, the fungicides, the GMOs, the pollution that's in the air. You go into the car and you breathe in what? The fumes when you pump gas. You go and you get on the airplane, you step across, you breathe it in. It's just out there. So you get all these free radicals attacking the cell. When you get a bunch of them, it turns into that oxidative stress, and it turns in, unfortunately, to that disease. Now, we can't say that Protandim cures, treats, prevents, or mitigates disease, but I'm telling you, when you get your body back in balance by lowering oxidative stress, by lowering inflammation. If you love to read information, you definitely want to look at our patents that we have. We have US patents and we have international patents. And those patents, some of them show that we lower inflammation in the body. Inflammation is what? It's known to be the silent killer. Do we want to lower inflammation in our body? Absolutely. So lower oxidative stress, lower inflammation, turn on our body's anti-aging enzymes, kill off those free radicals. Incredible things can happen when your body is back in balance and when you can get your genes back in balance as well through something called nutrigenomics. And that's what we are the leaders of. And so when you get off here today, look at what nutrigenomics is. But I want you as well to look up, and we'll talk a little bit about it, something called NRF2. NRF2. Again, it's NRF2. What in the world is NRF2? NRF2 is a protein messenger that is in every single one of our cells, and Protandim is a NRF2 activator. And it's also known to be the most potent NRF2 activator on the planet that we're aware of. NRF2 is being studied by universities and institutions again all over the world, including pharmaceutical companies are checking it out because they know that is where the science is going. It is unbelievable. In February of 2015, Washington State did a study, and within that study it said that this could be, NRF2 could be one of the biggest, could be the biggest, let's see, how does it go? It could be the biggest preventive breakthrough in the history of medicine. I don't have the wording right in front of me, but that's what it said. So the person, again, that invited you here today, they invited you to something where it said, and this isn't just Washington State saying this, we're hearing about this everywhere, that we could be on the verge of the biggest breakthrough in the history of medicine. Okay, like that just gives me chills all the time, and that, you just feel so blessed to know this information. And for you guys in Australia, the timing is absolutely unbelievable. And the leadership there is absolutely unbelievable. And you guys are blessed. I want to touch on one other thing before I hand it over to my handsome husband here. But you guys also have this unbelievable product called True Science. And let me tell you a little bit about True Science. True Science came from one of the studies that was done through Louisiana State University. Louisiana State University did a study on skin cancer specific to melanoma. That study was so incredible that they said, we're going to do another one. That study was so incredible that they did a follow-up paper. Then they came back to the company and said, you guys need to create a topical. This is unbelievable. We've never seen this before. Holy cow. Create a topical and go from there. And so that is how the True Science Anti-Aging Cream came about. So when you think of anti-aging, we all think, oh, we don't want to get all the wrinkles and dark circles and age spots. Sure, none of us want any of that, right? But we also want to have healthy skin. Our skin is our biggest organ. So anytime at our house, if our girls get a sunburn, if they get a cut, if they get a bruise, if they have any owies, if they have, you name it, it goes all over them. Here in Sioux Falls in the summertime, I don't know if you guys get them there, but we get mosquitoes. So you get mosquito bites. Guess what happens at our house? I know, she's like, really? We pour True Science all over them. And actually, I can't remember if it was Elisa or Callista, our daughters figured that out because they know. Our girls know, they call it the magic cream. They put True Science everywhere on everything, and they did that, and we're like, whoa, and it works. So you guys use it, bathe in it, it's unbelievable. And get back to the person that had, again, that shared this with you, and see some before and after pictures. It goes to the 7th layer of the skin. It builds up everything that you want in there to be healthy, and it's absolutely incredible. So I'm gonna turn it over here in a second to Shawn, but you guys, again, this is so big, that Oprah Winfrey, I don't know if any of you have heard this, but she actually called Dr. Joe McCord's team after that ABC investigative report aired. And these guys were scientists, right? They were in their lab, in their coats. They weren't out watching TV. Dr. Joe McCord didn't know who Oprah Winfrey was, so he didn't return her phone call. The CEO that came into the company didn't believe that story. He's like, everybody knows Oprah Winfrey. he called up Oprah's team and they said, we believe that you are the only ones that have never returned our phone call. So this is just crazy. But again, I'm going to turn it over, but thank you guys so much.
All right, great to see you guys. And we love being out in Australia, and hopefully we'll have the opportunity to come out soon and build this in person with you guys, because there is nothing better to do this with the great people that you have out there. You know, when we really exploring this, as we've said multiple times, we got involved because of the products. And I think it's an absolute no-brainer that when you understand the power of this technology and what these products are, you're going to integrate the products into your health strategy. But you can't walk into a store anymore. You can't walk into a pharmacy and get these products off of the shelves. They tried online distribution, it didn't work. They tried it in the stores, it just sat on the shelves, and it actually sold less than 1 bottle per store per month in the retail channels. The company almost went broke in 2005, in 2007, 2009. It's always been a publicly traded company. They saw the stock go from $1 a share to $20 overnight after that ABC video aired, but they didn't even have the infrastructure in place to manufacture, let alone distribute that much product. So as much as the excitement was back in 2005, it dwindled over the course of time because nobody could get their hands on it. And the places that it was sitting, nobody knew what it was. The old bottles, they actually said clinically proven to reduce oxidative stress. I mean, who walks into a store and is like, give me a bottle of that stuff that reduces oxidative stress, right? It doesn't happen. It has a story to be told. And that's the key thing about why we do this in person to person. They tried it against the retail channels over a 6-month period. It outsold the retail channels by 300%, and they pulled it completely off the shelf. So at this point in time, the only way to get the product into your body is as a customer of a distributor or as a distributor. About 85% of our business is customer-based. And I love that for the simple fact that not everybody wants to do the business, or not everybody sees the business potential like we do. And you know, just allowing people to be who they are and not talk them into something they don't want to do. I love that about this company. Again, I think it's a no-brainer. You're going to take the products. But, you know, if 85% are taking it as customers, that still means 15% kind of see the vision of where this is and where it's heading. And in business, there's something called the S-curve. And Warren Buffett, who's arguably the greatest investor of all time, he talks about how you have to position yourself before the growth curve. And that's really what he's talking about, is knowing about something before the average person knows about it. Can you imagine if you went back in time and you were the first person to know, let's say, about Tim Tams? Okay, I got introduced to Tim Tams a year ago. And if I could go back and invest in that or be part of that business, you know I'm going to jump in. And that's the cool thing about the technology that Michelle was talking about, NRF2. You could go into any city across the world, and I've been all over the world doing this, you guys, the Philippines, Australia, Canada, Mexico, all over the U.S. There's not one market that I've walked into where you could go out on the street, ask randomly 100 people if they know about NRF2 or LifeVantage or Pro Tandem, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I know all about that. The average person does not know about this yet. But where's it headed? Where's it headed if you can really unlock the genes inside of your body to work like they used to? How powerful is that? What's the market capital of that in the future? And that's where I got excited, because unlike, you know, technology like, let's say, the iPhone, where at first, you know, the iPhone 1 and 2, nobody really knew about that at that point in time. People that were using that technology were the early adopters, the pioneers, the innovators. And then around the iPhone 3, a little bit more publicity came out about it, but it really wasn't until like iPhone 4. Well, now the iPhone 7, everybody knows what an iPhone and a smartphone is at this period of time. But at one point in history, they didn't. And that's the same thing with NRF2 technology. We're going to see more and more big pharma companies spitting out synthetic versions of NRF2 activators. But what's the problem with drugs, right? They contain a whole list of side effects that happen. NRF2, Pro Tandem, it has no known side effects, no known drug interactions, and it's still the most potent NRF2 activator on the planet. And if another company came out tomorrow with another version, they don't have the 10 years, over 10 years of research that we have to validate what it does. And that's what I see on the business side. That's the potential that I see, is that when it does hit the average person, who's going to benefit from that? Okay. And on the business side, it doesn't mean that everybody's going to come and do this full time and do it like we do it and just run with it. Some people are looking for part-time income. The ranks in the company go from Pro 1 to Pro 10, and those ranks of like Pro 1, 2, 3, that's $100, $250, $500 extra a month. And most households, an extra couple $100 a month is very significant. It could be the difference between them keeping a home or not going through bankruptcy, or even the marital stress that sometimes happens when you have financial struggles in a house. We often talk about, our health challenges with friends and families. We're pretty open about that. But most of the time, people deal with financial struggles behind closed doors. And if it's not you, I promise you, you do have friends and family that on the outside, everything might look great, but they're dealing with very significant problems, and they're going to bed tonight wondering how things are ever going to change for them. And that's what I get excited about this, because we have a very simplistic business model. That doesn't mean it's easy. It still takes work like anything else that's good, but we have a very simplistic model of how to do this business and how to be successful. And we all have a direct incentive to help each other, right? Our success is directly tied to helping other people be successful. It's not like the corporate world where I was trading time for money and I was paid more money to separate myself from everybody else. The further I could separate myself from everybody else, the higher I was going to climb up on the corporate ladder, right? But with this business, if I don't help other people have success, I'm not going to have success myself. And that's what I love about it. Now, there's a lot of people coming up to retirement age, and it doesn't look like it did 30 or 40 years ago. And they haven't saved enough money to live the same lifestyle in retirement that they thought that they were going to be able to do in the current lifestyle that they're living as they're working. So what are their options? It's either to live off of less money or to take on a job throughout their retirement, some kind of part-time supplemental income. So if we can roadmap out for them how to make $1,000 or $2,000 extra a month, it's huge. And there's a whole generation that's coming up to retire that is not prepared. And then there's full-time income. $5,000, $10,000 a month, the levels of Pro 6, Pro 7 in the company. Most people, that replaces the full-time income in their house, where they can walk away and be at home more and be with their family more. And then at the higher ranks of the company, 8, 9, and 10, we're talking about $20,000 plus, $30,000, $80,000 a month. And I'm not saying the money because that's what everything's about, but I'm just telling you the potential of what we have on our hands is astronomical. There's upfront money that we get paid on, but the best thing about it is building a residual asset in your life. And if this isn't the vehicle for you, I would challenge you in 2017 to find something in your life that generates residual income. Because when you stop trading time for money, that's going to allow you to live a completely different life. When I showed up at Citigroup, I showed up for 2 weeks, they sent me a check. Show up for another 2 weeks, they send me a check. When I stopped showing up in January of 2012, guess what they stopped doing? Sending me checks. Right? When you build a residual asset, it keeps paying you over and over and over again for work that you did once. So you're going to fall into a couple of categories now, you guys. There's going to be some people that this information, it just isn't for them. What I would ask you, though, is whoever shared this with you, if something new in the company happens, a new product comes out, or maybe new countries are launched, new science comes out, maybe every 4 or 5 months, they can just touch base and kind of share the updates with what's going on. If you have questions about what we're talking about on the product or the business side, let us know what those questions are so we can help direct you to the best information, because I'll contend that the American Heart Association is a much more credible resource than a blogger on the internet, right? We can point you in the right direction for answering your questions. And then third, if you're interested in either becoming a user of the products or joining us on the business side, let the person that invited you know that as well, and they'll walk through the details of what all that entails. We want to be very, very respectful of your time. I know we had about a half an hour. So we truly appreciate and we're honored that you guys invited us on here to share this information and our story with you. I'll turn it back over to you guys and thank you once again.
Can I say one more thing?
Of course.
I could, just because it's on my heart, and we're talking about, the residual side of things. And I actually had a Zoom like this earlier today with one of my very best friends who 2 years ago, her son, they found out that he had AML leukemia, which is a very aggressive form of leukemia. And all I can tell you is anybody that's a guest watching, or anybody that, that is sharing this with others that is watching, we know what we have our hands on. We know that oxidative stress, right, is the root. We don't make any claims, but Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, diabetes, asthma, autism, migraine, psoriasis, all these things, we see people all the time that are hurting. And like Shawn said, on the financial side. So listen to people and just share your heart, because we have a genuine gift here. And my girlfriend got into this business because her husband knows the heart. He works in cardiology. She saw the science, and she just said, we'll just be sharing this, kind of like how we originally got in. So she was just sharing here and there with family and friends, and then you become passionate. She started sharing and sharing. Well, she dug the well before she was thirsty. And what I mean by that is she was sharing and just blessing people's lives with this information. Then she found out that her son had cancer. And she had to leave and go drive to Denver, Colorado, 3.5, 4 hours from her family, 2 other kids, husband, and literally live in the hospital for over 6 months. Wow. And because she dug the well before she was thirsty, she was getting those residual checks. She was able to quit her job. She was getting those checks every single month, and she was sitting right next to her son every single day and being focused where she needed to be focused. And so we don't know what's going to happen to any of us at any time. Even if it's nobody in our family, it could be a friend. I've been able to call up a friend in a moment's notice and say, do you need, and I was able to do it with my girlfriend, Des. I said, Des, do you need us, our entire family, to come to Wyoming and take care of the other kids while you're there with Chase, and we can stay however the heck long you want us to stay. That is freedom. I've been able to call up a friend that was going through some other stuff and say, I can hop on a plane tonight, tomorrow, and come and stay however long you need me, and we can just lay in bed and watch movies and do this and that. And I didn't have to think of a boss. I didn't have to think about finances and how much an airplane ticket was going to cost. So when we talk about the finances, we talk about time, it's about being where you need to be, when you need to be there, with whom you need to be with. And so just digest this and know, like I said at the beginning, we have a gift to share with the world, and it is real. And it kind of does, like Shawn said in the beginning, it all sounds kind of too good to be true maybe, but it is. It's real. It's a perfect storm. And I know we're a little over on time, but it was